Good day everyone. I'm feeling a little sick today, so I decided to use AI text-to-speech to help me with this video. Today's lesson is a writing workshop to help you in your narrative writing or any story you'd like to create in future. I will be teaching you how to start your story. Starting with a strong opening can set the scene and draws the reader into your novel. There are many ways to start a story, but I will be focusing on 6. Danger, sensory scene, dialogue, perspective, flashback and abnormality. Danger starts with action. It gets your adrenaline pumping as you add tension to the scene. Making your character experience a life-threatening situation allows the reader to wonder how they got there. For example, action movies such as Fast and Furious, Transformers, Avengers, and more. Here is a written example of how you would use danger to start your story, using Avengers: Age of Ultron as a guide. Their armored vehicle charged through the snow-filled forest, blasts of explosions pounding near them in succession. The archer, Hawkeye, aimed his arrow steadily in the center, despite the constant swaying and distracting light beams that zoomed past. Black Widow, his assassin partner, drove them forward while kicking away a rabid robot that threatened to attack her as their own metallic ally, Iron Man, flew assuringly nearby. Next is sensory scene. We use sensory details to create a vivid picture in the reader's mind. Describe what can be seen, heard, smelled, tasted, and felt. For example, movies that start by showing a view of the world or senses, such as Avatar, Way of Water, Elemental, and even Baby Driver. In Baby Driver, the main character uses the senses of sight, hearing, and feeling. Here is a written example of how you would use sensory scene to start your story. I watched as the 3 thieves casually stepped out of my car, dressed in all black suits, covering their faces with dark, patterned scarves before entering the glass-enclosed bank. Each of them wore sunglasses to hide their identity, similar to mine. Through my earphones, I listened carefully to the melody of one of my favorite songs, Bell Bottoms, by the John Spencer Blues Explosion. The second the beat dropped, I started singing aloud passionately to the rocking tune. Dialogue is a fan favorite. It starts with indirect speech. There would be little interest in a plot if the characters did not talk or engage with one another. Conversations keep your readers connected and curious. Movie examples of dialogue can be the opening scene of Mean Girls, The Matrix, and even anime like Jujutsu Kaisen. Here is a written example of how you would use dialogue to start your story, using The Matrix as a template. Is everything in place? The stern voice of a woman came from the cellular, a comm system followed by static. You weren't supposed to relieve me, said a male response. I know, the woman explained, but I felt like taking your shift. You like him, don't you? He sounded annoyed. You like watching him. Don't be ridiculous. We're going to kill him, do you understand that? The woman hesitated. Morpheus believes he is the one. Do you? It doesn't matter what I believe. Perspective. Whether it be a side character or prophecy, build the mystery within your world to show that the protagonist isn't the only person affected in the story. Many movies do not start with the main character, but sometimes the side characters or even the villain. Take Mulan, Harry Potter, and Dark Knight Rises, for instance. Here is a written example of how you would use perspective to start your story, as seen in the movie of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Professor Albus Dumbledore, an elderly wizard, strolled upon Pivot Drive, stealing lantern lights using the put-outer he had previously stored in his cloak. This way, no one would be able to see their magic in the dark. He saw a tabby cat nearby and smiled. I should have known you'd be here, he spoke, Professor McGonagall. The shadow of the cat shifted to that of an old lady. This scene can also be categorized as a flashback. Flashbacks show a glimpse into the past. Describing your world building from the get-go can draw your readers in, if done right. Some movies that start by reflecting on the past? Finding Nemo, The Hunger Games, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Megamind, etc. Here is a written example of how you would use a flashback to start your story, as seen in episode 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. My grandmother used to tell me stories about the old days, a time of peace when the Avatar kept balance between the water tribes, Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation and Air Nomads. But that all changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop the ruthless firebenders, but when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years have passed and the Fire Nation is nearing victory in the war. Lastly, abnormality. It was like any normal day, until it wasn't. Reveal an unsettling twist, the day it all fell apart. It is the moment that everything changed. Some openings that come to mind are Frozen 2, How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek and the anime Attack on Titan. Here is a written example of how you would use abnormality to start your story, as seen in episode 1 of Attack on Titan. The streets, just like any other day, were bustling with townspeople. Dogs were barking and birds flew over our heads, like they usually did at this time near sundown. It was supposed to be another comforting afternoon with my friends, safe within the high walls that protected our city. That was until we all noticed that gigantic, fleshy red hand, creeping over the wall, before a trail of smoke amidst a looming, skeletal face. And, just like that, everything changed. Remember to write your paragraphs like you'd see the scenes in a movie. Every time your camera shifts, start a new paragraph. Every time a new character speaks, write a new, indirect speech on the next line. Let's practice. Search 100 creative writing prompts. Pick a number between 1 and 100 to get your topic. Plan out your story using the narrative essay mind map and start your story with one of the 6 openings. Good luck!